Here's how you can build an outdoor kitchen in your backyard. In true Nick and Liv DIY fashion, we had never done brick or concrete, but we just figured it out. We had this great little nook in our patio that we always thought would be perfect to build an outdoor kitchen around, but we decided to extend it a little bit, which meant pouring concrete, and I had never done that before. I ran into a ton of tree roots while digging, but was able to get them all cut out with all my Craftsman tools. I then drilled into the old concrete slab. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to put rebar in, and once that rebar is all in, it will basically tie the old slab and the new slab together. I then put gravel in, which acts as a base for the concrete pad. After compacting the gravel, it was then time to build the form, and I used 2x6s for this. Now, I don't know what the standard depth of a small concrete pad like this is, but I knew it was going to have a ton of brick and heavy countertops on it, so I overdid it. I did 6 inches deep, and I ended up doing 4,500 psi concrete. I made sure that every angle of my form was completely level with the patio because I wanted it to be a seamless transition, and then it was time to cut more of the rebar out. Using a metal blade and my angle grinder, I cut off the rebar in about 4-foot posts and put them all behind the form to keep the form in place once the concrete was poured. I used some rebar ties to add in a longer rebar piece that went all the way across perpendicular to what was sticking out of the pad, and then added some more on some chairs to keep it elevated off the ground. I knew the next time I grilled it would be on my nice new grill over there, but not today. Still time to work, and that meant time for the concrete to be poured. Because I was working by myself on this one, I had a company come out and just pour the mixed concrete for me. I knew that would be the most time effective and probably cost effective way of doing it for me. You might notice 2 things sticking out of the concrete, and that is because I'm smart, and over the weekend had an electrician and a plumber come out and run gas and power into the slab so that I would have it hidden nicely into the kitchen once it was done. I actually really enjoy doing the concrete. So first of all, they poured it extremely wet on one side and very dry on the other side that you'll see in a second. I'm using a concrete placer, pulling it and trying to make it as level with the top of my form as I can, and then I'm coming in and I think it's called screeding with a 2x4 and then using a float to get it nice and smooth. Here comes that really dry third pour that they got me, but I was able to mix it in with the wet concrete and it all just evened out fine. I grabbed a wheelbarrow with one last load and got everything right to the surface. So you can see I wasn't trying to cover any of that brick. I did go back and wash it all. I used my 2x4, got it nice and even with the top of my form and the concrete, and then just made it smooth over time. Because it was such a wet pour, I had to wait like 45 minutes for it to dry out a little bit before I could do the final float, and then I came back in with a brush finish. I don't know why I did that. You don't really need texture because I'm covering it all, but I've seen videos of it and I thought it looked fun to do. I cleaned up the edges and some of my mess, and that was it. I had done my first concrete pad, and this is just part 1 of 3, so make sure to follow for the whole kitchen build. If you thought that looked like fun, just wait.